Making the headlines this evening, Anambra State government increases budget for youth entrepreneurship from 100 million to 5 billion naira. Women enjoying to tap into the vocational programs of Chief Mrs. Obiano. Today is International Day for Indigenous People. And on the foreign scene, Argentina Senate rejects bill to legalize abortion in the first 14 weeks of pregnancy. You're welcome to the news at 7:30. My name is Chidima Oranwa, and now the news in full. The state government has increased its budget for youth entrepreneurship development for 100 million to 5 billion naira. Governor William Bernard disclosed this during the 2018 International Youth Day celebration held in Oka. Government House correspondent Kenechukwu Ofoma was there and tells us more.
The celebration, which was held at Alex Ekweme Square, Oka, with the theme Safe Spaces for Youths, was organized by the State Ministry of Youth Empowerment and Creative Economy. The event was well attended by delegates from the various youth councils and organizations drawn from all communities of Anambra State. Governor Obiano, in his address, said the increase is for the state to train and empower 10,000 youths with seed money across various vocations. He explained that to achieve this, his government has created the Creative Economic Council to provide the platform for Anambra youths to take advantage of 21st century wealth creation opportunities to develop their potentials. The governor further revealed that as a fallout from his Austrian business trip, his government is discussing with an Austrian institute for scholarship to some youths in the state, assuring the youths that he is focused on creating new opportunities for them.
On a level where the Anambra youth has not announced his presence. And just the other day, I received 5 Anambra youths who were part of the 22 Nigerian youths that were selected by the Obama Foundation for the Obama Leadership Class in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, out of the 22 Nigerian youths who attended the conference, 5 were from Anambra State.
The Commissioner for Youth Empowerment and Creative Economy, Mr. Bonaventure Enemali, said youths play a very critical role in the development of any society and as such need safe spaces for their creativity and ingenuity to find expression, hence the theme of the celebration. He said in keeping with its vision to groom youths that are productive, the state government has created skill acquisition centers in the 21 local government areas of the state and is partnering with the private sector to fully harness the talents, ability and creativity of youths.
Fear of being made to feel uncomfortable, unwelcome or challenged on account of biological, sex, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, cultural background, age, physical or mental ability. It is a place where the rule guides each person's self-respect, dignity and feelings, and strong encourage everyone to respect others.
On his part, the Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Mr. Mark Okoye, said getting young people involved in governance is the biggest investment any responsive government will make, and noted that the Obiano administration has clearly demonstrated its commitment to youth's inclusion in governance as well as empowering them. According to him, the state government has in this light directed that representatives of select youth organizations be included in the State Budget Council to ensure that their interest is fully represented in the planning process of the state.
National Economic Council, and I informed you. You told me to step out. You made a call to the speaker, and under 30 minutes, Anambra was the 24th state. So, Your Excellency, it's not just English we are speaking. You're acting by the young people who are here, everybody who's empowered. Bringing in young people into government is the most symbolic investment in the future of young people that any governor has made in Nigeria and ever. So I thank you for it, sir.
The state chairman of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Comrade Samuel Egwato, said given the strides of Governor Obiano towards youth development, Anambra youths have the responsibility to key into the initiatives to achieve self-actualization. The governor during the event launched the One Youth, One Scale program aimed at promoting entrepreneurship development in the state. From Alex Ekweme Square in Oka, I am Kenechukwu Ofoma, reporting for ABS News.
And away from that, women have been implored to tap into entrepreneurial spirits behind the vocational programs of the Caring Family Enhancement Initiative, CAFE. The wife of the state governor, Chief Mrs. Abela Chukwuobiano, made this plea during her community tour of Agwata and Anocha Council areas. Correspondent Daniel Ezigwe has more.
Mrs. Obiano, who was represented by the member representing Orumba South in the State House of Assembly, Princess Nikki Igochukwu, challenged women, especially the indigent, widows, and the physically impaired, to avail themselves of the trainings and empowerment gains of the Caring Family Enhancement Initiative, CAFE. She described it as a veritable way of staking their contributions to both their families and the society. The governor's wife noted that the achievements of the present government in 40% affirmative action in women representation in governance should serve as a motivating blueprint for active women participation in politics.
On behalf of Anambra State Government and His Excellency Chief Dr. Willie Obiano, could continue now support Anambra State Government, now support our governor Nifron Neme. His Excellency Willie Obiano in his government, there were over 40% women in his government today.
On their parts, the member representing Agwata 1 constituency at the State House of Assembly, Dr. Ikechukwu Ume, his Agwata 2 counterpart, Honorable Ikem Uzezie, and Honorable Azubike Okoli, representing Anocha constituency, said the empowerment tour remains a cardinal program for uplifting the helpless across every human segment of the state.
She is coming with a lot of presents to these women that are waiting. A lot of invalids are here that she is going to give presents. And she will get to know the women, see the areas, know where the problems are. When she gets home, she will discuss with the husband at their private home.
Score them to your wife to be more productive. Whatever means or whatever token that was given to them to build their families, at least to feed and fend.
I thank him on behalf of our Anocha people for finding time to come and all the gifts you have given us. I pray that God will always be our guide and guide in whatever she do.
In their opening remarks, the Transition Committee Chairman of Agwata Council Area, Honorable Eche Ezeibe, and his Anocha counterpart, Engineer Ikobi Ejiofor, expressed appreciation for the visit and recited their complimentary support to the goals of people-oriented administration. Other government functionaries and party leaders, including the Commissioner for Social Welfare, Women and Children Affairs, Lady Ndidi Mezuo, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Uju Nwogo, the Chairman of All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, Anocha, Barrister Obiadi Ndubisi, Engineer Godwin Ezeno, and Daniel Madueke, amongst others, call on well-meaning individuals in various communities to pick example from the gesture. The community empowerment tour featured distribution of bags of rice, school bags, mosquito nets, exercise books, cash, as well as presentation of gifts to the governor's wife by individuals and groups from the visited council area. Birthday gifts were also presented to the governor, Chief Willie Obiano, who marked his 63rd birthday. From Agolo, in the Anocha council area, Daniel Ezigwe, ABS News.
Anambra State chapter of Not Too Young to Run has appealed to political parties in the country to reduce parties' nomination fees, reserve tickets for youths, and as well conduct democratic primaries that will enhance quality of democracy and governance in the country. These were part of the demand tabled to political parties during a one-day march organized by the association in Oka titled National Day for Action on Youth Candidacy and Party Nomination. Correspondent Chibuzo Obidike is our guide.
Rolling down the association's demand to parties' representatives at their various secretariats, the state coordinator, Comrade Nonso Orakwe, commended the presidency and all the key players for amending the constitution to favor the youths. He recalled that the new law reduced the age for the office of the president to 35, Senate 30, House of Representatives and State Assemblies to 25, acknowledged that the march became imperative due to the essential role of the political parties to democracy, stressing that youths constitute over 60% of Nigerian population with voting power of 54%. Comrade Orakwe noted that lack of internal party democracy and high cost of securing party nomination will undermine the emergence of youths as candidates in next year's election. He assured of the association's commitment to mobilizing youths to collect their permanent voter cards.
Young people said, it's not going to end in signing the petition, but also we need to engage the political parties, political stakeholders, religious leaders, and the entire society to join us in this race, because young people feel they are not included in the political space. And that is to say, we are fighting, we are trying to get people, we are trying to get the stakeholders, even the people in the government, to include young people into political space.
Responding on behalf of other political parties, the state chairman of ABGA, Sanobat Obi, represented by the secretary of the party, Barrister Tony Ifanya, expressed concern over the recycling of old men and women by political parties. He said that ABGA believes in the abilities of young people to rescuing the country, while the PDP chairman, Sandubisi Nwobu, who was represented by the state administrative secretary, Honorable Kasmia Ajoro, emphasized that the party places high premium on candidates who can win elections for the party.
We are prepared to cooperate with the youth because we know that you are the future leaders of tomorrow. We want you to start now, because you can see what is happening in the politics. So if you can come up and remedy and rescue the country, because the country is on a brink of collapse. So if you can come up now and take the destiny into your hands and rescue this country, we shall not be happy for it. Because our senior, the elder statesmen, they have failed us.
This letter came too late, because PDP has already published the guidelines for the election. You must also note that you feel candidates that you are sure that will win the election, but they are talking about people that will win the election in their constituencies, their territorial zones, their state. So it's equally very, very important we consider all those things.
Contributing, a representative from Abuja, Ms. Deborah Ezago, thanked the state party leadership visited for their time and assured that the nation is blessed with credible youth who can turn the future of the country for the better. In Oka, Chibuzo Obidike, ABS News.
With less than 200 days to the 2019 general elections, political gladiators have gone a long way in trying to outwit their opponents and stay on top of the game. One of such moves are the current guild of defections taking place across the country, thus raising questions of the implication of that strategy to the development of the country's democracy. Correspondent David Okpokosala spoke to some respondents in Ozubule Ekusigo local government area who aired their views on recent happenings in the country. His report.
Inception of the present republic in the Nigerian political experience, the issue of defections has not been on the fore of the polity as has been since 2013, when defections are being recorded on regular basis, both on a massive and trifling scale, whether at local, state or federal level. Reacting to the recent defections from the ruling All Progressives Congress APC to the major opposition party, the People's Democratic Party PDP, a former majority leader in the State House of Assembly, Mr. Humphrey Nsofo, said politics is dynamic as politicians are moving to places that favor them in the next election, emphasizing that the defections are guided by provisions in the constitution. He, however, regretted that why cross-carpeting has become prevalent is because of ideology, which according to him lacks in most parties, while insinuating that most defections are only guided by the desire to remove the party in power.
The Constitution of Nigeria allows defection. There's no way you can stop it. Everybody's making efforts to make sure that he has a space in the coming election. So it's one of the things we expect as the election date draws close. So it's normal.
On his part, a special assistant to the governor on community liaison, Mr. Don Jeff Odumegu, asserted that defections are negative when such moves are for selfish purposes and are not to the benefit of the masses, and prayed that the political tide in the country be in God's hands for the betterment of the electorate.
Defections, fine. If what they are saying is their reason for defecting is what they are doing it for, good and fine. But if they have ulterior motives, because maybe they don't agree on certain things and they are defecting, then we have to watch it.
Another respondent and political stalwart in Ekusigo Council area, Chief Norbert Anibogu, described the happenings as normal, but going further, he discouraged the practice as it weakens the political system. Another political stalwart in the area, Mr. Uchenna Elodemwo, noted that defections do not augur well for the country's nascent democracy, calling for stiffer measures against serving elected officials moving to another party.
Everybody deserve to defect. As you can see, some people are moving to APC, some are moving from APC to PDP. So it's a normal thing depending on the person's or the group's reason for such defections.
This democracy thrive. From the recent events, and a lot of people they come from the ruling party, and now in the House the majority are now the minority. But that's politics. Well, what I feel is that what I stand for is for true democracy and let everybody be carried along.
The collection of views by various political actors, watchers and analysts on the causes of defections have been the lack of distinct ideology on the political parties. However, the questions remain: what are the reasons it has become a Herculean task for political parties in Nigeria to have definite, easily identifiable manifestos and ideologies since the Second Republic? Do our historical and political narratives have any contribution to this lack of existing ideologies? Could it be said that passive electorate contribute to a loose party ideological system? Answers to these questions may provide a lasting solution to this peregrine argument. From Ozobolo, Ekwusigo Council area, this is David Obokwase reporting for ABS News.
Many more await you if you join us again after this time out.
I've got something for you. Clorette's is the only gum that eliminates odors, giving you real fresh breath.
Glad to have you back. The international community is observing today as Indigenous Peoples Day. It is a day set aside to recognize, promote and protect the rights of world indigenous population, achievements and contribution made to improve the living standards of the people. Correspondent Ogochukwu Keke takes the story from here.
Indigenous people are those having a set of specific rights based on historical ties to a particular territory and culture. The day was first pronounced by the United Nations General Assembly on 24 December 1994 and adopted in 2007. Speaking to the ABS on the significance of the celebration, the state president, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Chief Damian Okeke-Ogene, listed government, the church, constitution, leaders and other social institutions as essential tools for safeguarding the rights of indigenous people in every nation.
God has created the world that anywhere you live, you're supposed to be part and parcel of that place. But here, for instance in Nigeria, many Igbos have been in the north for years. Many of them have been in Lagos, except recently. Some of them have started filing paper to contest election in Lagos and accepted. But in the north and in some other areas, they made many of these things only for indigenes. So God has created the world and made it for everyone.
Contributing, the vicar of St. John's Anglican Church, Opuno, in Awka South local government area, Reverend Canon Onyekachukwu Egwon, said there is no segregation in the house of God as the church accommodates people irrespective of origin and status.
Indigenous has to do with where you belong, where your origin, your cultural background. When God recognizes peoples, nations, tribes, languages, is there in the scripture. When we return to God, we are returning as a tribe, as a people, a nation. So every human being comes from somewhere.
For the traditional year of Opuno, Igwe Sunday Okafor said the United Nations General Assembly adopted these rights to restore justice, peace and reconciliation across the globe.
A good example of indigenous people are settlers in South Africa, Zimbabwe, where you had the original people settling there, and migrants came in and settled with them and became more powerful than they themselves and started ruling them over. And in that situation, you see that those migrants create a lot of, in South Africa, they had apartheid policy, where you cannot eat where the wives were eating. You cannot join any club where the wives were dominant. So there had to be a legislation to reorganize, and regulate things.
The theme for this year's celebration is Indigenous Peoples' Migration and Movement. In Oka, I am Ogochukwu Okeke reporting for ABS News.
And away from that, the leadership of the two chambers of National Assembly may resolve to reconvene the federal legislature next week to consider the 242 billion naira budget proposal for the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for the conduct of 2019 general elections. This was disclosed by the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoudi Yakubu, shortly after a closed-door meeting with the leadership of the two chambers of the federal legislature. Correspondent Chibidima Ikanyo is our guide.
Speaking earlier at the opening section of the meeting, Professor Yakubu said, unless something is done urgently, INEC might miss the 6 months window for the procurement of certain tools and equipment required for the conduct of the election. According to him, to meet up with 6 months window, the required funds should be in the Commission's coffers by August 15, a date that the 6 months will start counting before the date for the first round of election. The INEC chief further explained that of the 242 billion naira budget proposal, 164 billion naira was urgently needed by August 15 to enable the Commission purchase the first batch of tools and equipment. The INEC chair observed that this would be the first time since 1999 that the Commission's election budget would be subjected to scrutiny by the National Assembly. Speaking earlier, the President of the Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, said the proposal from the President had not been acted upon by the Senate, stressing that the President letter conveying the proposal was only read to senators on the floor. On his part, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, said INEC's budget ought not to be presented through a fire brigade approach, as according to him, every Nigerian knew that the general elections will be coming up in February 2019, and so provisions for the INEC's election budget ought to have been submitted alongside the 2019 national budget proposal. The National Assembly leadership has yet to pick a definite date for the lawmakers to return to their duty posts for the purpose of addressing the matter. Chidimi Kanyon for ABS News.
And from the foreign scene, Argentina's Senate has rejected a bill which would have legalized abortion in the first 14 weeks of pregnancy. After a marathon debate, 38 senators voted against it and 31 in favor. Its defeat means lawmakers must wait until next year to resubmit legislation. Currently, abortion is allowed in Argentina only in the cases of rape or if the mother's health is in danger. Demonstrators on both sides of the debate rallied outside Parliament as voting took place. Anti-abortion activists have been jubilant, but pro-choice campaigners, many of them dressed in green to show their support for the cause, we are seen crying and comforting each other because they have for years tried to get bills passed in Argentina while the population is overwhelmingly Roman Catholic. Their efforts gained new impetus when President Mauricio Macri, who opposes abortion, called on Congress to consider a vote on it, and it narrowly passed in the lower house. And just before we go, a quick reminder that you can follow news and programs from many parts of the world by logging onto our website, www.absradiotv.com. Like us at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And now the main points of the news again. Anambra State government increases budget for youth entrepreneurship development from 100 million to 5 billion naira. Governor Obiano announced this in Oka at a celebration to mark 2018 International Day. Women enjoined to tap into the vocational programs of Chief Mrs. Obiano's Cafe Initiative for Self-Empowerment. Today is International Day for Indigenous People. And on the foreign scene, we reported that Argentina's Senate rejects a bill to legalize abortion in the first 14 weeks of pregnancy. And that's the size of our package this night. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Chidima Orangwa. Good night.